and
Oh,
everyone
hang
else.
on. I see you talking, but actually my speakers aren't on. You guys there? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Now I hear you. What's up, Mac?
Not much studying week.
What'd you say?
Not
How's the week?
studying. Not much moving
Studying
on
this
small
week?
caps. Yeah. So I
What's
came
up,
in
Flavio?
yesterday. Was everything SSR. Nothing to trade.
hmm Yeah, well, the selection definitely sounded like it was pretty slim on the small caps.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there was probably you could find like moves. I don't know, like second day or gap downs, gap ups, maybe something like this. But nothing of much interest since I had like a week from hell last week. So taking it extra slow this week.
Were you just fighting too much last week, or it just ended
Yeah,
up being a tough week?
I think it was already. I think like the whole markets like have shifted a little bit in small caps, and I've
Yeah,
changed.
definitely.
I've changed basically like from trading like open, started trading afternoon. So I had like one sort of prior week, not last one, but before that, like so an okay week, and then I think it shifted even more. So last week, like yeah, I was fighting too much basically, trying to make something happen, but nothing like happened. So yeah.
Yeah,
And it probably
yeah. I mean, it was.
makes sense, I think, with the markets shifting, because this week is just totally everything SSR, nothing's moving, So I think yeah, that's basically the market conditions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the VIX is elevated, so sizing down a little bit is is good, and widening the stop. Like, let's say you'd normally have your stop at, a previous 1 minute candle or something. Maybe now it needs to be at a 5 minute candle, because I'm finding, especially on the big caps, you just need the wide stop because the VIX is just so elevated. Here, looking at the VIX, here it is on the daily. And, you know, usually, unless it's something's going on, it steadily trades around this like 15 to 18, maybe $20, but now it's up here 30. And if you go all the way back towards COVID, right here, that's when the VIX was, 70 and 80. So, I mean, you could take less shares on moves like this and then still, you know, make a good amount, your normal amount. And same thing with these. You can do smaller size on trades, and then the range can move, further with the VIX being up. So just some thought for you.
Yeah, I've been sort of setting my stops. Well, the initial stop is as I always wanna, so I want trade to work straight away. So I still sort of take the initial stop for like, I think like 1 minute previous high or something, around that. So tight, really tight stops. But once it works, I tend to do like 5 minute tops, or sometimes even if it's a good fade, I even like let it run for 15-minute high. I noticed that sort of helps me at least when I was trading open, it helped me a lot. Like with taking less partials, I would just set like previous 15-minute high and just let it work for me. Just take partials and at my targets
Yeah.
and let
Yeah.
it.
I mean, that's the type of trading that's kind of happening now too, I feel. So having that wider stop can be really useful. Yeah. Oh, Remen was asking, hey, what's up, Remen? MJ, Mark, Paul, what's up, guys?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I saw my Discord was not connecting on my MacBook. So
Yeah, mine on my phone wasn't earlier as well.
yeah, now it is connected. Yeah.
Is that Discord?
Yeah, it was Discord was messing up.
Oh yeah, I think a good what, like 6 hours ago. I think I was at work, like trying to check, Discord, what's happening, and yeah, was having connection issues on the phone.
Hmm. Did anybody get some good trades today? Mark?
Oh, sup? How are you? Um, I
Good.
traded the pre-market, but I didn't stick a lot. I didn't stick around to see how the small cap did at the open. I heard it was pretty dead, was it? At least for the
It was
small
pretty
cap.
flat for the big caps. I think small cap same is what Mac was saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like in the weaker market, it's better for me at least to trade pre-market,
Hmm.
to get a little bit more of percentage gain than if I had just waited for the open. So that's what I've been doing. And sometimes I just get it all out and end the day since I'm under PDT anyways. So that's what I did today. I don't know what the
Hmm.
ticker name was, but I traded it well, I think. The range sucked, but it was okay.
Nice.
It was okay trade.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everything seems kind of range bound today, so
Yeah, I saw Adelaide. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that. Trade futures instead. Maybe futures was doing better today.
I mean yeah, we were getting definitely some movement on the ES. I mean all the good stuff happened on the last, with the FOMC meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where I was trading some Tesla. That was pretty fun. But yeah, futures, I mean, sold down pretty good, curled up below VWAP, and then it went. That's what's tough about like this market right now. It's like it didn't like this is like a nice cup, right? It would have been awesome if it was on the J lines, but it's going higher. But instead, it's like curling up in this area below the J lines. So like this is not like long territory per our rules, you know? I mean,
Yes,
this would
that's
have
right.
been.
That's right, Rick. So I was actually planning to take a long in SPY in the same situation because they didn't call up over the J line, so I didn't trust that.
Mhm.
I didn't take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so that's what's been
Eric, would
happening.
you consider taking the, where you reclaimed the J lines and you closed above J lines, then you dipped below, and the
Yeah.
third one opened on the J line. Yeah, this one. So basically, the third one that made a push. Would you consider taking that? I know the
I
90 MA
mean,
90 MA is under, but
mhm.
you seem to have like
Like
some volume
right
coming
here.
in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the next
I
one,
mean, so
basically.
this would be like a scalp, and then your target's like high a day, which would be like here. So, I mean, sometimes it's possible, uh, I used to take these more. Now I want to see more of something like this, like an actual kind of flag pattern. But, the thing that made this work and why did it run this far is because look at how long this consolidated here. It stayed in this nice, really balanced kind of range here. And then when it broke, it ran and it ran for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 minutes. This run was right here. And how long was this consolidation here? 10 minutes here. So, like, if we're looking at the 5 minute, which, the 5 minute is clutch right now, it's working so well. You know, just sell down consolidation here. You're thinking, oh man, we're going to have this choppy day. And then when you take the first breakout, this is the first 5 minute new high of the day. Not of the day, but since 9:30, which is important to track actually. Like, how is the performance of every new 5 minute high, the first one on the day, because that's can give you a sense of like momentum. And yeah, I mean, if you had took this one right here, like this is below the J lines, but on the 5 minute kind of J lines here, it's actually curling like on them. So that was actually a good trade right here.
Yeah, no.
And yeah, if you would have took it here, you would have took it as like a sell down and then pop up. It closes and then you try to catch this break up higher here.
Yeah, that one exactly. The third candle, basically above J lines. That little
This
sort
one
of
was nice.
little dip into J lines, basically, and yeah, break of that cup sort of thing with a tight risk.
like these sometimes I'll take when we're in a strong kind of like, bull market, because this is just like a short trap right here. These guys like start fading the price, they're shorting it, it makes a new 1 minute low. And then what happens? The buying continues from the institution or, whatever it is. And then these guys all get trapped, and then it just triggers their stop losses, and it just keeps moving higher.
Where's
So that was a
your
nice trap.
which one is your VWAP? Blue one?
VWAP is right here, this blue line. So, and then the other thing I wanted to show you guys too. So I trade up the 1 minute. So like normally I have, oh, it is on the 9. Okay. So like this is the 9, right? It holds the 9 pretty well here. Kind of staying below the 9 here. Well, let's see. I want to switch this to a 20 now. I noticed with how choppy everything's been and the VIX being elevated as well. We flip this to a 20. And you get like a little bit more this purple line here. It works a little bit better. So if you guys like trade with big caps with like the 9 on your chart, try putting the 20 on for a little bit, because you might see it work better, because we're experiencing so much more chop, and the VIX is up, so things are moving. The average true range of a lot of these candles are bigger. So look at how the 20 worked here. It held below here, it broke above, it didn't quite get to retest it here, and then it broke below, rejects the 20 moving average here, touches it here. So this was working real well here.
Yeah, I've got 21 as well on my 1 minute chart. I think I put it on after Calfed's webinar. I think he was
Yeah.
talking about it, something that he watches. I think to either close position or take position sort of when I think 15 and 20 cross, or 9 and 20 cross. I don't remember. Basically,
Okay, yeah.
he looks at that.
Yeah, that's how Michelin also does it. She, I think she does like a 9 and a 13 cross or something. I can't remember exactly, but she uses that as kind of a signal for, I think, getting in or getting out of positions. But with big caps, using the 9 or the 20 as your guide for holding trades is a great way to do it, because often it's difficult to have targets. How did everybody else trade today and this week so far? I know that the platforms were giving everybody trouble, which it always does conveniently when it's super when the market's crazy. Oh, damn, is it
Hello.
dropping like that?
Hello, Eric. Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's up, Alex? How you been?
Yeah, kind of fine. Today is like -1 hour for all the trades, but still the week is kind of great. I'm loving trading the big caps. They're just like
Oh.
at the moment they're so better than the small caps for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I also wanted to ask like a lot of the questions about big caps for you guys who've been trading them a lot more than me. So.
Okay, yeah. Alex, how come you're not trading small caps as much? Because you were doing so well. I mean, you had that month where you were just like, you had like 1 loss in the whole month.
Yeah, and after that month, everything just went super bad,
What
Like
month was that? October?
Yeah, October. October and November
Yeah.
was kind of okay months. October have only 1 losing day, and
That was
November
like my
was about-
October.
yeah, and November I had like 2 or 3, or maybe like 4 losing days. So it still was a decent month. But the December, everything went like crazy for me. I didn't size down when I should, and the market just crashed me. I gave all the profits that I made on October and November. So after the holidays, I just reset and started again with the small size on small caps, and now with the small size on the big caps. So I'm kind of like, I resetted my mentoring program, So,
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, you're pretty good with the small caps, so learning some big caps as well is
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
well, Monday was so good on the big caps. I was like, every of my trade on the big caps was working so well. I had only one losing trade, and the trade was like for about a scratch, like -$2 or something.
Okay.
So
I want to take a quick poll here. Ask everyone a question. Everyone write in the chat. So I'm holding 3 shares left of Tesla from up here. I was kind of scalping it. This was the FOMC meeting, and then I got this short right here, partial through here, partial here, held through all of this using the J lines, and I just moved to break even because I was like, okay, maybe I should just swing this overnight. But now that it dropped like that, do you think I should sell the rest of the position or some of the position here, which
you
has
can
this
sell like
support,
one share, I think. Why
or
not?
or should I hold for just here? 3 shares. This
Yeah, so Eric, what I will
It's like
advise is,
almost like $100 for one share, right?
yeah.
So
yeah,
you can
so
actually
what
like
you
sell 1/3, I mean one share, and hold the rest, like, you know.
But do I care about $100, or should I try to just?
Well, $100 is $100, man.
yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
but
a bad habit.
but do you think the trade can keep going? You know, I think that
Well,
remember, like we broke this here on Tesla this past couple of days. We're gonna head back to here potentially, or is it gonna move sideways for a couple of days?
I believe after this, like the news and everything, like what we had today, like the online translation of like when the market just went crazy. I believe it's gonna be like choppy for this like 2 or 3 days, like
Okay,
because the market will react and wait
yeah,
and everything. So
I think so too. Gondola says sell a third.
yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like,
Come on, people. What do we think? We need fast decisions here.
Yeah, so Eric, so we saw that yesterday on Microsoft result, right? So they had a very good result and dropped like a hell, and after that it called up and reached back, right? So Tesla also have a good result. So probably in this aftermarket itself, maybe there are chances to come back to 900 levels. Not 900,
Okay,
to 900.
so Remen thinks it's gonna come back, so sell 1 share, huh?
Right. Take your profit, man. Don't leave it in the deck.
But it
Nah,
could go so much further.
wait for this 9 EMA rejection.
Yeah, maybe one more rejection here, right?
Yeah, or you can just watch
If it
for the rejection if it is not.
if it
it's
makes
like
lower
the last
low,
candle is saying that it's rejecting, so you probably can hold a little bit, and if it pushes
Yeah.
more, you can like sell 1/3. So
May bounce to 937. Why 937? Okay, because this was the value zone. This is where VPOC is. Okay, I like your outlook there, MJ. Traded the same if it's 100 or 10,000. Sell a third, in my opinion. Okay. Everyone thinks I should sell a third. Well, we're gonna hold it. We're gonna hold it for at least the rejection, and I'm gonna go the opposite way of the masses, which you guys say is sell a third. I'm just playing, you guys. Okay. Anyways, so that was the trade on Tesla. This was the one that made the day right here.
yeah. So are you like comfortable shorting above the J lines?
In this market environment, yes.
Well, this is like the chop that started during the translation, right? In the US.
This is like the chop in the US, you said, or what was it?
Not the chop. I mean, like today was the what was it? I didn't remember the name. Like the Fed chair.
Yeah, he spoke. That's
the
what
conference.
happened there.
Yeah, yeah. So you traded that like when
Yeah, I traded
the
when that
conference.
was happening.
Were you comfortable trading it? Because like I felt this would be like too risky, at least for me.
For sure. I mean, it was super risky, but
But it made your day, right?
that was the fun part about it.
Yeah. Did you size down or you traded?
Yeah,
like...
yeah. So you got to size down. So this is what was happening. These trades don't even count. Like this was like 1 share because I was testing if my DAS was working, which it wasn't today. And then I kind of tested it once here, like with 1 share to see, because earlier today, I took a trade at the open on Microsoft, and it wouldn't let me sell out of the position because there was a problem.
Oh,
So then I shorted it here. So let's zoom in. I shorted it here and then right in front of the meeting because I was either going to kind of like stop out for a small loss, or if this like news came out and it drops really fast, it would have been a great trade. So kind of risking a little bit, shorting it at this like double top, almost, well, this multiple kind of top here at pre-market high. So I cut that for a loss. Then shorted it again because it was like stuffing almost. Cut that one for a loss. And my platform was still kind of lagging here. So this one I kind of flipped long here. This closed at the top of the candle, right away took it long. This is like a quick scalp. Like this is let's see, 77. Really, I didn't hold the trade very good. I got like a dollar and a half out of it with 50 shares. So just small kind of scalps. And another little scalp here. This one I cut. So these were kind of ugly.
Eric,
Held
sorry
it all
for
to here.
interrupting you. Like
Mhm.
watching the Tesla right now, I think you should have sold like 1/3 at least.
We're gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried. 975 average cost. So we'll
Yeah, that's a perfect average actually.
Yeah.
You can even hold it like
You know, I always like
not
I
not
wanna.
for one night, but for like a couple of days. With
Yeah,
that
yeah,
average.
yeah. That's what I was thinking. Is like if we have a like kind of interesting market environment, this could be a good short for a few days. So I'll try it. You know, because you feel good if you try it and then it works. You know, yeah. If this thing comes back to break even, I'll be like, oh damn it, I should have sold some more. I should have sold it. But the thing is I still had a good day, so it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got to let the market work for you, and that's one thing that I'm still trying to get better at doing. You know, it takes a while to trust the market, and then let alone let it do the work for you. So, anyways, a couple more scalps here, shorts here, short here, and then these two were a loss right here. It wasn't really moving very far, and then I took this short here here's that pattern again, kind of. Okay, so this spike happened and pulled back the whole thing. Then it makes a kind of a new high from here, makes a high here, and then it pops up again here. And this is kind of what OTC was explaining to us, and Jay was kind of saying. This is like, but this is on the 1 minute, not quite, 5 minute setup, but it makes like a new high. And then what is it going to do? It goes down, it goes and creates another new high. And now you're shorting it here for the breakdown, all the way down. And, you can kind of load up here on this line, but I kind of took it full size this first trade. And then just partials all the way down. So that's like this setup has been happening more and more, where it just makes that like, makes a high, then it hesitates, it chops, and then it rolls over. It like punches up through, and then it fades all the way back down.
How does
This is to shake out a bunch of stops.
How does this look on a 5 minute?
5 minute? So this whole situation would have actually been better to trade on a 5 minute, I think. Let's see. So here it is on the 5 minute. So you got this like consolidation before the meeting, and then they announce it right here. This thing shoots up, inside candle, right? Inside candle on the 5 minute. If you shorted this inside candle, you would have had a great trade. Okay. And then chops down here, another inside bar, kind of like this. If you would have longed this one off of the kind of the J lines here and longed here, you would have had a pretty good trade or a scalp. And then looking at a 15 minute right here too. This is kind of the short here.
Yeah,
you
this
know,
is on 15 minutes. Like I think it's closer to what OTC was like saying. I think when it's like
yeah. So
pushes, and the next one like Vic overshoots the previous candle basically and starts fading.
so 5 minute and 15 minute was kind of, ideal way to trade it. Also, this is what else I wanted to show you guys on this. If you would have traded this inside bar right here, it dips below and it pops into it, goes trades inside for 5 minutes, breakdown. Okay, let's look it on here a little cleaner.
And also, it was like some kind of a bear flag on the 1 minute chart, that inside bar.
Yeah, you see this right here? Sells down below J lines. It can't even pop into the J lines. It's being held up by VWAP, this blue line, and the 200, which is this pink line, and you're below the 20, which is the purple line. So you do this. If you would have took this inside bar right here, you would have been golden. Same here. This is like a 1 minute inside bar range. So you just kind of you short this thing as it's consolidating, and you have your stop like up here. And this thing would have been like 20R, whatever. Would have been a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's how you kind of trade some of these events. But yeah, you guys, I recommend right now, try and instead of if you got the 9 on your chart, switch it to the 20 for a little bit and see if it's working better. You can anticipate it a little bit, Nadine, but sometimes you take it when it breaks because you want to have that confirmation. It depends on how much you're risking. So, like if I was going to take a short here, I might not want to take full risk until it's like actually starting to break, or some people might try to take full risk at the highs in case you're reducing the size of your stop loss. So it just depends on your trading style, really. But the best thing to do in situations, even like these trades here, is put out like feeler size. So, 25% starter position. And that's how Jay today had such a good trade on Microsoft was, let's go back to Microsoft. This is the trade that Jay had on Microsoft. So it's sold down. He was kind of, it sold down through here. It pulled back into the J lines. I think he kind of took it short around here, like around here. And then it popped up, he held it, he shorted more, and then when it did this leg down, he said he made like 8R. So, in this market, sometimes you got to hold the trade a little bit longer than you normally would. Normally he'd be cutting it like right away if it's making a new 1 minute high. But right now, with this like choppiness in the market, he held it, he added to it. So yeah, I mean, he crushed it on that trade. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best leg down here. And then I'm not sure if he got this part of it too. I'll have to go back and look at his trade, but that's how he traded it today. J-line rejection right here. Pop into J-lines, you got VWAP right there, you got the moving averages. As you can see, that 20 is working pretty well. The 9, so watch this. Here's the 20, right? This purple line. It's like slightly above this. We got VWAP here and J-lines, and then it touches it here, probably to the penny, and then fades back down. It looks like it breaks it here pretty good, but let's switch this now back to a 9 and compare it. You see how the 9 right here, you guys, is like getting chopped through here, chopped through here, chopped through here, 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 here. The 9 is not doing anything. It's not working as a ceiling in this case, or like a form of resistance. It's just chopping. It doesn't close above it until around here. So I mean, you could say that it doesn't. It's working. It's not closing above it on this leg down. But this is very choppy. This is not a nice fade to trade. It's difficult because like you keep getting drawn down. It keeps popping into your entry. You're second guessing yourself the whole time. Whereas if you have that wider stop up here at the previous kind of relative high, like above J lines, above VWAP, and then let's switch it back to the 20. Actually, let's just add the 20 really quick so we can, I don't like having all the lines on my chart, but just so we can compare it. Because you guys, this is what like, I think sometimes makes Jay so good at things like when he's going over and trading Bitcoin and crypto. He goes and looks for what's working. You know, he decided, oh, the J lines on the 4 hour is working really well in the crypto market, and at the time it was. And then he kind of fits his plan to that. So, you know, it wasn't the 1 hour that was working as well. Maybe it was the 4 hour J lines, or same thing here. Lately, the 1 minute J lines have not been the best. Like the J lines on the 5 minute have been better to trade off of and to be patient and wait for. So yeah, just to show a comparison here, the purple line here is the 9, and then this one's the 20. If you were trading using the 20, you had a much better chance of being in a positive position, you know, winning the trade. Make sense?
Yesterday I watched. I think it's one of the recent videos on SNB YouTube channel. One of the traders like talking about trading in a weaker market. How to identify, you know, the strength of like selling or buying basically in a weak market. I think it might be an interesting video for everyone to watch.
Yeah, send it over. I'll definitely watch it.
Just check the SNB Capital YouTube channel. It has to be one of the
Okay.
recent ones, maybe like 3 days ago or something like this.
Nice. Yeah, I like their videos.
And it's called something about like, yeah, how to identify strength and weakness in weak market or something like this, you know.
Okay.
I think it's considering conditions we're having, I think it's a good watch.
Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Leo.
Hey,
How was the
came in
week?
just a little bit late. I was posting my charts to JTrader.
All
But,
good.
I've been on about 10 minutes or so watching you guys. Good trades this morning.
Yeah. Today was not bad. This week was been good so far for my trading. How have you
Yeah,
been doing?
I've had some good trades myself. It's today. I just I mean, Monday was a 27.50 for me, and yesterday was 15.87. Today was just $450, and I'm just happy with that.
That works.
It works.
That
Pays the
covers
bills.
that. That's all right. You know.
Well, I've been completely. I gotten my ass kicked on Fed days before, so
Oh
I
yeah.
have no expectations. And so I found a small trade, one lot on the ES in the middle of the day when everything was pretty calm. Just took a 9 EMA break to the upside. Was watching book map, order book, icebergs, stops, ticks, ADS, ADSPD, and it just felt right. So I put it on with a tight stop, and it was a winner. But
There you go. That works.
yeah.
Perfect.
I don't think you guys need to see my. I can give you my charts, but it's just such a simple trade, and Jay's been getting on me for not posting my charts, so I've got to make sure I post them every day.
In the room or to him?
to him.
Oh yeah, you got to send them to him every day.
Yeah. I don't know the process, and that's part of my problem is because there's if I go back and read some of the notes, yes, I find them later after I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is what I should be doing. But maybe maybe we should put together a video on the process of what you're supposed to do every day. But now that I'm here and been here for 3 weeks, I'm getting the gist of how things work. So
Yeah, I mean, it just takes time getting comfortable with
yeah.
the swing of things, but I mean, definitely screenshot your charts and send it to him every day.
Oh yeah, totally. I did yesterday. I'm all caught up on Trader Sync, so he has all my stats. I'm up 13,600 for the month.
There you go. It
So
works. It's a good day's worth of work.
yeah,
But did you guys want to go through some charts? Did you want to send over a few more? I've got some. Uh, not a tremendous amount. I guess Alex will pull up yours to start. We'll go in order here.
Yeah, let's go.
What do we got here?
So this is like an apple from today, kind of like a bear flag breakdown, which just got stopped out, risking the previous high. So on the break, I just shorted and risking it. And like according to my chart and everything, like I just wanted to ask some questions on you guys about the big caps.
Okay.
So like if somebody don't know, I traded the small caps for all of this like 7 or 8 months of mentoring, and only like last week I started to trade big caps. And the first question is about the tape. So like I'm feeling a lot more comfortable reading the tape on the small caps because I know the exact size that I should put on the exact volume days. So and this is what gets me kind of like, you know, not nervous, but like I cannot like trade properly, or just makes me a little bit more emotional because like on these big caps I just don't know what numbers to put on the how to filter the times and sales. For example, for Apple, I filtered them for like the one times and sales is like for filtered for 10 shares, and another one is filtered for 9.99. And like, is it okay for 162?
chilled out under the bed.
Okay, but did you for me?
Go ahead.
Or should I put like it more filterable, like for example for 2K shares or even 3K shares? And like, what kind of filter do you use for the big caps actually? For example,
So-
like for Apple, for a 100 or $200 stock and everything.
I know everybody's different. Here, let's see.
I'm talking about like, you know, the big blocks, to see the big blocks.
Yeah, so everything greater than or equal to 4,000 shares here.
Uh-huh.
So this
Is
box right
this like for
This is
into
the big-
Microsoft? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I know, but do you use it like for Tesla too, or you use it on
I use
like
it for
Apple?
everything.
Ah, okay.
So, I mean, it works pretty well if you're trading everything above, 20, 25 bucks and above. So, I mean, sometimes with the really big caps, kind of like Microsoft, Netflix, Tesla, you're going to see maybe a little bit less, but that's okay for at least for my trading style.
Yeah. And another times and sales you're just using like without any filter, right? Or really, really small filter.
No, actually, I filter that as well. 250, everything greater than
okay.
250, just to filter out the noise.
It's kind of like this, the same for me, yeah, to not see like that one shares, one share there. Okay, so this was actually like
Well,
the first
real
question.
fast, let's ask, what does everybody else do?
I'd say the first question you have to ask is, do you trade tight ranges like scalping, or do you typically trade for larger moves?
It's like definitely scalping. Like for 9 EMA trades, they're definitely a scalp trade.
So then, I mean, the reason I ask that is because I wouldn't be trading Apple on a 1 minute chart. I wouldn't trade Apple on less than a 10-minute chart. But if you're just scalping like candles, if you're just going trying to take this move from here to here and maybe get this, then okay, the 1 minute can work, right? Because you can see there's a trend line there on the J lines. But those filters, I would say that anything above 100, and base it more on RVol than do on just the price itself. Like if the RVol is really high, then you want to increase for Apple. Let's say the RVol is above 1, pushing in the 1.2s, then I would have this one filtered for 500 at least, and I'd have this one filtered for 5,000 at least. But you got to play with it. You got to find your sweet spot. I would say that this one 250 minimum and then this one, I think the settings that 3,000, the settings that like I would use these as a minimum and a starting point. And I wouldn't filter this out higher than in this market with this with this volume we currently have. I wouldn't filter this higher than 800, and I wouldn't filter this one higher than probably 6,000. But you just got to play with it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, not the exact numbers, but like the some numbers, so I can like imagine and start to improve it and to use it by myself to see what is better for me. So thank you for answering.
Yeah, no problem. You get comfortable, like OTC saying, with like, for instance, I take out the small orders because then my time in sale actually moves a little bit slower. And then when I'm trading a breakout or a breakdown, like he's saying here, with this breakdown, let's say we trade short here. Well, since my time in sales moves slower, since I'm not seeing the single orders or the small orders, when it starts to speed up here on this one, I know that when I'm taking this breakdown, volume's coming with me. So, when you're taking a breakout or breakdown, you want to have volume working the trade. So that's why I like this. Sometimes when I start to see this move really fast, I might pull the trigger at the exact same time. And then I'm glancing at this and saying, okay, here on Microsoft, we had this size order come through, and whether that's going to be a support or resistance or someone defending their position.
Yeah, like the filtered window is just for the confirmation, it's like to see the big orders and everything.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
It's like basically as in the small caps, but still I just when I get to the big caps, I just really was not comfortable reading the tape at all, and I didn't know how to filter it properly to see like what I should see,
And with this larger time in sales, it's not moving very fast at all, so you get to look back at it and see the time and the order quantity, which is important. If we're going short here, riding this thing down, well, if it's starting to consolidate and now I'm seeing large buyers here on the larger time in sales, maybe it's time for me to take a partial from my position because they're starting to hold up price.
Yeah.
So you kind of use the direction that the larger buyers are going, because it's not as manipulated as small caps,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it is manipulated, don't get me wrong, but
yeah. So that that's the second question which I had. it's like for the J-line rejection setup. You can see it like J-line rejection or J-line curl up. So the exact point of entry, like for me on the small caps, if I see the rejection, if I see that the candle is rejecting the J lines, and I see the sellers on the tape and everything, I can enter the trade on the J lines, right? Before like the trend break, the 9MA break, and everything else. But on the big caps, like we have the setups telling that we should like wait for the trend break, risking the previous high, relative high, and everything. So my question is like, do you guys usually really wait for the trend line break and enter the trade on the trend line break? Or if you see like the J line rejecting, for example, like the first one, J line rejection here, which we had, like those big candles, yeah, here. So we didn't really have a trend here to break, but we have like some kind of resistance above, right, on the bookmap and everything. So do you guys usually trade this J-line rejection for
I
example,
like to
for
look
FFT?
for candle confirmation from a trend line break.
Yeah, it's like, but as you can see on the first J-line rejection, if you waited for the candle confirmation, you would be like,
Yeah, it wasn't happening.
yeah,
It
your
also
entry.
depends on what your objective is. I mean, you're looking for a long term. I mean, if you're scalping, that's pretty tough to do. Yes.
So if you want to take let's say you were taking a J line rejection here, trying to just guess the top and
Yeah,
guess. if
this
there
is
was
like for me.
this
That's
pure
why I didn't trade
anticipation.
it, because yeah, this is an anticipation of
Your
the trade.
stop loss would need to be high a day. I mean, you could do it like Jay, which would be like right here, but on big caps, big caps don't stuff the same way that small caps do.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
So you need to play a range here to kind of maybe even all the way up here, pre-market high, and just take really small size, and then you can kind of let it work. Maybe it's going to pop up more and then fade down. So that's one entry. The other entry is right here. And this is the candle confirmation, kind of like Leo saying, well, my interpretation of candle confirmation is you pop into the J lines, it instantly stops back down. You've got this inside bar ending as a doji. You take the breakdown right here, and you short with your stop loss using the 9.
Is there a way you can drag my chart on? I can show you my trade from the day. It's very similar to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, just send it to me on Discord,
Okay.
and then I'll pull it up. So that was the other trade right here.
Yeah, but basically these trades are not like an A+ setup. They're
Those are
definitely like you
scalps.
should, yeah, scalps with smaller size. So
And you're inside previous day range, so I mean, it's gonna
Yeah.
be like much smaller size.
yeah. But
But,
for,
you know,
for
this is
example,
like-
let's say we have an A+ setup of J-line rejection. So you usually really wait for the J-line rejection for a trend break, and you're entering on the trend break, right? Risking the previous relative high. Yeah, exactly
mean-
right here.
Yeah, it depends on your trading style. If you're patient enough to wait for this, then yeah, this is the safe way to go. This is the way everyone should be trading.
But by the rules, that's the A+ trade, right? Because it's Jay says the third on a large cap, the third J line rejection is the one that fails. Isn't that the rule? Leo,
I don't know
better.
about the
Yeah.
third.
I don't know too.
I'm not sure about
It's
the
like
third.
this wasn't an A+ because we are inside of the previous day.
Yeah, so it's not.
average,
This will
so-
never never be A+ because exactly we're
Because it's inside the
previous-
range.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Even though it broke down. I mean, it broke
Yeah, but
down and
it-
then pushed back up on weaker volume.
I'm pretty sure this was inside the previous day's range.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're not
Exactly.
gapped out looking for like a J line curl above.
But in
or
terms
gapped
of just JLRs, he says that the third one is the high probability to reject, right?
I don't remember that part, but you could be absolutely right. I don't remember. Maybe someone else knows. But if there's a third J line rejection, that means that the J lines are working well. That's what I was saying to you guys earlier. Jay is really good at finding what is working in the market. And so the market changes, and then he'll see what time frame are the J lines working better, Is the 9 working at that time? You know, same thing with how he analyzes Bitcoin.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, at least for the small caps, he was saying that, like, the first G line rejection had the more chances to be profitable. And, like, the more J line rejections we are having, the less the probability of this setup is. Well, that was for the small caps. I don't know about the big caps, actually.
So yeah, it'd be good to wait for this one and then also use the 5-minute chart. I'm sure you got like some 5-minute bar
Yeah,
here.
inside bar.
And then you get that breakdown. So that way you're not taking a 1-minute breakdown, but you're getting a 5-minute breakdown as well. And then you know that there's more momentum behind you because all the traders like OTC and other big traders that are just using 5 minutes, they're taking that breakdown too. So if you're scalping off the 1 minute, you get to just ride the waves. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was what Leo was saying. Leo, is this the chart or is?
Yeah, I sent you a couple of charts, but yeah, for the most. Yeah, so I identified my signals with stop, entry, move, stop when price got above 9, and then I had a target in place before I ever put the trade on. And that was just a complete scalp trade during a low volatility moment in the market.
Were you just like kind of trading a range? How did you choose the target?
I have levels. So it was an HVE level, high volume edge.
Okay.
So actually,
on another chart, it's right. Actually, that high volume edge is right. Is at a green line, so I put it right below the green line. That was at 23, and I put my exit at 22.
Cool. Where
but this trade is like is based of trading of the levels, right?
No, the whole basis of this trade is a break of the 9 EMA.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like under over the 9 EMA, right?
Yeah, it's just strictly a 9 EMA momentum trade. So I was watching Bookmap, I was watching ADSPD, I was watching VIX, I was watching TIX when I took that trade, and they were all positive. Even though this, if you looked at a 5 or 10 or 15-minute chart, this was a downtrending market at the time I took this trade. So this is a counter trend trade, and I only took one lot. I knew it was kind of a shot in the dark. I normally don't take these kind of trades, but I just wanted to, you know, I've been pretty good on the month, so I figured if I had a loss, it wasn't going to kill me. So I had figured, you know, let me just try to sharpen my skills here, like, you know, pulling the gun out of the holster. See if I can take a shot and it works, and it did. And I don't know that Jay Trader would agree with this kind of a trade, but it did work out. Yeah, and then I've got other charts on there if you want to bring those up.
Can I also interrupt you guys?
Go ahead.
Ask another question, not about like the charts and everything, but for the tracking. Because like for the small caps, like I have a tracking file. I know what I need to track, what I'm comfortable with, you know, and what I should kind of track on the big caps. Like for the small caps, it's kind of like I have a targets, let's say like 5-minute J lines, 3-minute J lines, 1-minute J lines, and everything, pre-market highs and everything. But for the big caps, like let's say we're having the J line rejection, and what should I track in it? Like, did it reach the previous low? And how many times did we reach the previous low, or did it like cross the 9 EMA? So what things you usually track if you track something on the big caps?
I don't know. I'm only a futures trader.
I can show you kind of. I was showing you guys this, last week or something. This is for under overs, okay? But for J line rejections, I don't really track the J line
Yeah,
rejections.
let's say over unders and not overs. I like them
Okay.
really much.
So yeah, you can do the same thing with over unders. I don't really trade over unders. I only trade under overs. But so entry time, exit time, kind of gives you an average duration, the winning trades, losing trades. I haven't been putting it in, but like, what is the market doing? So is it gapping up? Is it gapping down? Is it inside the previous day range? Above the 50? Is it inside the previous day range below the 50? So that's one thing. And then what's the stock doing? Is it gapped up, gapped down, inside previous day range? Because you want to know what type of under over you're going to take. If it's gapped up on the market, gapped up on the day, and it has to be holding the J lines all of pre-market, then you got an A plus setup. But if it's like chopping or below the J lines in pre-market, even though it's gapped up, it's not A plus technically. Open location, is it opening above or below the J lines or at the J lines? What's the best trailing method of the trade? 1 minute candles, the 9 EMA, the 20 EMA relative strength index, and then final target of the opening drive or final target of the under over. Pretty much is a question for me of, is it getting, did that under over never make it above pre-market high, or did it trade above with the final target pre-market high? So this is just some stats of like mainly
Basically, you're like tracking the win rate of the setup.
yeah, and Top Tick helped me make this, so I'm sure he'll help if you got questions. His stats are crazy, but I kind of was doing this on my own, and then he had this like sheet that I wanted to format, so he helped put it together. And so here's the stats now. This is what this is going to tell us. Okay, wins plus criteria, all winning under over. So let's look at this. This is all the winning under overs that I took, because there was a couple that were losing under overs. Skip what's the market doing, skip what's the stock doing, because I didn't put enough data there. But pre-market action, 47% of the winning under overs, 47% were holding the J lines the entire pre-market. Okay, so like, you get this pre-market picture.
Was it holding the 1 minute J lines, or like the
1
3
minute
and the
J
5?
lines,
Okay.
like this. Well,
Yeah.
this wasn't picture perfect, but imagine here's where we're at. Let's say this held up here, and then it's trading like this the entire pre-market, and then let's say this thing gapped up. Well, if this thing opens and dips into the J lines and does an under over, it's an A plus under over, so full size.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what we know is that looking at this kind of area here, the open location, 53% of them are above the J line, so pretty neck and neck to below the J lines. If it opens below the J lines, it's not A plus anymore. Best trailing method, 67% of the time, the best way to trail is using a 1 minute candle on under overs. At least the way I take my under overs. And then the final target, this is the best stat, I think. The final target of that opening drive, 73% of the time it gets above pre-market high. So 73%, and then we know 67% is the best trailing method. So let's say that this thing was holding here, the J lines again, it gapped up. We're in a bull market. Everything was good, a couple months ago, right? This thing opens up, it dips into the J lines, maybe even below, and then buys back up. We take an under over long. 70% of the time, at least in December, we had a target above pre-market high. So that's kind of how the stats can help you, because I was trading under overs for a long time, and it's hard to determine your target when you're just gapped up in kind of no man's land.
Yeah, that's like actually what is hard for me, at least right now.
Unless you're using volume profile, which can also help you with targets as well.
Yeah, 100%. Targets and stop losses, and ranges to play, when you're using volume profile here, and you can start to pick out areas. Let's say you're looking at it.
But like you asked me earlier, why did I determine the target that I had? I just put it right below a volume a high volume edge.
Which
Knowing
Leo,
that there wasn't a
is
lot of
this a high
strength.
volume edge? Like you're saying, like a shelf?
Yeah, that would be well, just below it. I mean, the next one down below, just before it curls back down. Like you had your mark on that blue line. The one right below it, what I would mark as a high volume edge. Like
Um,
30, 30250.
okay.
Yeah, right in there
Like
would be a high volume edge. And then
something.
your next volume edge would be you would have one down there at 20, if you move at 285. That'd be a high volume edge. So you see how it like waves in between? You're creating a
Yeah.
wave. Yeah, those are your edges, and that's
Mhm.
where price likes to discover if it's below, if the price is below and not finding value, it'll find a high volume edge where price was previously, and wants to discover new value. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
that's
know that.
kind of how I determine some of my levels before I take my trades, because
Mhm.
I've been watching volume profile and TPO profile for a long time. So I
Yeah.
kind of have an understanding of if I'm going to set levels, that, and I also take trades off of those as well. So if price moves back down through a high volume edge, and the internals are not looking good, I'm looking for the next one lower, and I'll take a trade, looking for the next area that price wants to seek. It's just auction theory.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right. And especially you guys right now on the big caps, when we're in a choppy time and no one knows what's a good price right now. Is this a discount we're trading at, or is it overpriced still because
Oh,
it's
it's
the end of the world?
overpriced.
So
Yeah, for sure, I agree.
these zones are extremely important because that tells us if we make it up to here and we trade above this, then that's saying like this area, this value zone was, at a good price, and then we start to move above it. And then now, like in this case, it chops here and then starts to lose it. So what they've said here is that all this is overpriced. This 305 is overpriced, you know? So like Leo's saying, you got this small volume area. Price can travel from here to here very quickly. It can travel through these price areas and discover the lower price pretty quickly because there wasn't a lot of volume traded there. For it to move through here or here, it's harder to do because there was a lot of people trading there. There's maybe a lot of stop losses. People are going to defend positions. So, and then if we lose this 287, 88, we might be able to travel down to 275 really quickly.
Well, it's the same thing that the J Trader is trying to say as far as uh, Bitcoin goes. I mean, these are levels that price is going to migrate to if you can't find the buyers, and you got to find value. So right now I'm looking at 4150 and 40 uh 4050 for value on the S&P before they even think about turning it back up. I mean, yeah, we tagged below the recent support area, and I think we're going to migrate back down there as well. But I don't know. We'll see. These markets are crazy, so just gotta
Yeah, I was
play what you see. But I wouldn't be surprised if we find value lower and then work our way back up,
I was
especially with political situation going on.
I was thinking this like 4175, yeah, kind of like 4150. I was
Yep.
thinking that was going to be our next support if we lose this. And then if we lose that 4150, 4175, look at how little volume was actually traded at 4,000 and 4,100 here.
Oh, I know. It just blew through
So
it.
like we're going to blow through there and test 4,900, which had quite a bit of volume. So you see this window here. So if we drop from here, we can go down to here quickly.
Oh, easily. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and then all your big caps are going to follow. So maybe your setups in the morning are if the indexes aren't doing well, then you look for your short the the spikes.
Any
And
other
I
thoughts on
think
that?
I don't think we're done going down yet, but I don't know that we're going to go down that much more. Maybe another 100 points or so.
Karen, here's the volume uh, by price setting. So screenshot this. OTC, you got any thoughts on that?
Sorry, on what? On
The volume profile of the market?
Oh, I posted something in a conversation this morning with hedge fund pup. I think
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's gonna base right here, based on the weekly candle. We're just gonna chop around in this area. Might hit 4100, but it's just basically what I think is gonna happen is relative to what happened up here, right? How it just chop, distributed. And now I think that same scenario is going to happen here. So my thought is approximately 1 month. I think this was, yeah, see, this was 1, 2, 3. So this probably 1 to 3 months, same scenario, just kind of holding, chopping here before it tries to go back up, because the market needs a correction right now,
Yeah.
a healthy correction. So, but like you guys are saying, if it loses these support levels, you'll get a bunch of panic in the market, and I don't think the whales want to see a panic, because then all your smaller hedge funds and your retail traders are just going to panic out, and this thing's going to come, then you're going to have a bear market. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think there's a consolidation going to happen. There's going to be good trading. The volatility will stay high, but I think the range will be a little tighter in here. I don't know, maybe 4100 to 43, 4400.
Yeah.
But I was,
Some of that
Put out
nature.
some butterflies.
but also you guys, what do you think about this? Now, like if you look at 2021, just kind of as a year in a whole, we went from, let's call it, let's just go towards this dip and call it 3,600 up to the end of the year to, let's call it like 4,600, even though it was like 48. So about 1,000 points we moved. Based on like just a measured move, couldn't we see, over 5,000 this year?
Potentially after, I think you're going to pull back before that happens.
Well, I mean, we're getting the pullback, I feel like right now, and then
No,
we're
but I
gonna
don't
get
think
this.
it's done.
Yeah, I mean, it could easily do it for another month to 3 months, kind of like.
So pull a fib from 4,000 to 5,000.
You mean a pullback once it gets up here, like that?
Pullback? Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it won't go this high, but
You don't think it will get to through
not
5,000
on
this
the
year?
first leg. I think it'll
No.
make an attempt up and
Yeah.
then come back, pull back, consolidate in this range
Mhm.
before it continues higher.
But I feel like this year we could see all that and then get above that. Because like if you just measure the move of how far we've gone in 1 year, I mean it's like 1,000 points. It's crazy. So I feel like it's realistic to get to 5,000
I
before
think
the
what
end
you're
of the year.
saying is not unrealistic, but I do think that we're going to see a pullback before that happens.
Oh yeah, it's not just gonna rally up there.
No. And I hope it's not going to be a V shape. I hope we get one of these where we just,
V-shaped recovery.
yeah, we grind down, we consolidate, we find value, and then people are like, okay, I'm sick of being where we're at. Let's find some new value again, or let's go back to where we were before.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with the consolidation down here at lower prices, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly the key. I think that's the key to what I was saying. You just said it. A V-shaped recovery was something we had in the COVID market when the thing sold off and then it just
Well,
rallied back. But I don't.
also
I
also
agree.
the
You're not going
the,
to have
the
that.
Trump election as well,
I thought it
Yeah,
which
was a
yeah,
K-shaped
I
recovery.
caught I caught that Trump. It was good. It was a one hell of a night.
yeah. I think you're right. I think it's going to consolidate and then give a. It's going to be more of a organic move this time around.
Well, there's also so much political crap going on, as well as the COVID. You know, how are you going to have a V-shaped recovery unless COVID has been cured? Everybody's going to COVID doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, you're going to have a V shape. Russia goes away. That's not going to be a V shape. That's just going to be okay. We're content with the fact that the world's not we're not on World War III. It just we just get back to business.
Yeah, I agree though. I think it's definitely good to consolidate for a month or two to
Yeah,
retest these value zones and build new value zones, right?
yeah, and you can find some good trades building value.
Leo, what was it like trading in uh, 2014, 2015 when it was like really, it was grinding higher, but it was a slow grind, right?
I would have to say that my first real trades were in 2015, and that's when I made a lot of mistakes, and I've blown out two accounts. Between 2011 and 15 by that point. So 2015 was actually pretty good. That was when if I had just taken every dollar I ever had and put it in Amazon, I'd be a freaking millionaire right now. Or Bitcoin for that matter. But there was higher volatility back then than there is, from what I remember.
You
Uh,
felt the volatility was higher then than now?
well, no, 2011 the volatility was higher.
Okay.
2015 is probably about where it is now. I have to retract what I just said, but yeah, I was a real novice, and I've been trading ES for a long time, and that's kind of my main deal. That and crude, sometimes gold, but um, I do have some equities, but those are longer term investments, not anything I trade on a day by day basis. Uh, but yeah, when that whole thing with Trump coming in, um, that was pretty good trading right there. The market fell, and then he had a V-shaped recovery like overnight. It was just crazy, and then
Yeah.
it kept going up from there. Oh, and then COVID as well. Um, there were some good opportunities in March of last year, and then, like you said, we went up 1,000 points since then. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the type of work that I was involved in, I couldn't trade actively. I had to get back to work and you know make money the hard way. Going going to work, getting up every morning and going to work and running a crew. But now I'm my own boss, so I'm gonna make it or I won't. But I think I'm on a good track right now.
I thought the market was the boss.
Well, it is, but I'm the boss of when I wake up and when I want to trade. And I'll tell you one thing: if you can go to bed early and you're on the West Coast and you can wake up at midnight, there's a hell of trades when that bureau opens. I'm telling you, like last night, I was 11 o'clock in the morning. I glanced at my screen. The market was up 7 points. An hour later, no, 2 hours later, when I glanced at the screen, it was up 65. I was like, oh my God. I'm gonna have to start making those plays because it's guys like everybody in Europe. I mean, they're waking up and they're at 7 o'clock in the morning, and damn, they're gonna start trading. So yeah, I think some of the best trades I've ever had have been during Globex and Euro Open, and even Asian Open. If you had some Asian news coming out.
Well, there's like a big shift or something in value, right? When that happens, like if the Asian or European market's closing.
No, not closing, opening.
Okay.
So I'm on the West Coast, Pacific Standard Time. So it's 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is when the Asian markets open. And if there's any news, like it used to be a lot of Japanese uh, news coming out, sometimes you can catch some of that. But the volatility there isn't as big as sometimes when the Euro opens. The Euro session opens at midnight my time. And if the market's been stagnant or kind of trending down a little bit, they'll just mark that thing up like there's no tomorrow. Like last night, if you scroll back to the ES at midnight, you'll see at 10:30 it was doing nothing, but by 11:30, just before the Euro Open, up until about 3 o'clock in the morning, that thing went up 65 points. And you can catch those. Maybe put on an ES mini, 1 or 2 lots, put in a wide trade and go to bed and wake up in the morning and you've got a nice trade on your hand.
Yeah, I don't trade too much after hours, but I have heard that.
But you can see what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And sometimes, and it moves a little slower as well, because like during the real-time market, the US RTH session, the volatility is just nuts sometimes. When you put on you almost have to use ATR stops instead of
Yeah.
level stops, because like if the ATR on the ES is 13 points, and you do 80% of that, you've got a 10-point stop on a one lot, that's $500 you're going to lose if you get stopped out. So, try to trade less volatility, or don't trade, or trade less. Like I trade micros. I'll trade micros all the time if I feel like the market's too volatile, or I'll put on micros at night and just go to bed. And if I get stopped out, okay, lost a couple $100. I wake up in the morning, oh wow, won a few $100, pays the bill.
Does the stop work on?
Oh yeah, You got to put GTC stop orders in place,
Okay.
bracket orders, especially if you got a good broker. If you got like Trade Station or Toss, the TD Ameritrade, there's not a lot of, you don't, unless something absolutely nuts happens during the middle of the night, like Bin Laden gets killed. Yeah, well, yeah, you might blow through your stop, but because I remember that night too. But I didn't have a trade on. I just noticed that the volatility was crazy when that happened. Sorry to
Okay,
rant.
guys. Oh, you're good.
Definitely
Go ahead,
should
Alex.
should have sold, should have bought one.
Oh yeah, I should have sold. Yeah.
I want to test a plan.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Spaceballs?
Post your chart tomorrow in the morning, then you close the position, Eric. That will be so interesting actually to see what
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah, I mean it was a good day, so
yeah,
if I get stopped out, then that's okay, because like
Yeah,
everybody's
it's-
saying, we're gonna see some chop, but if it breaks down a little bit more, I'll feel good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was like the perfect stuff,
yeah.
catching it right
Have
there.
you guys familiar with John Carter?
John Carter? No, I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, me too.
About I think it was 2014 or 2015. Tesla trading around 65, 70 in that area. He put on a live trade in his trading room, $1 million trade in like It was absolutely not. You could probably find it on YouTube, but it was an insane. I was there. I watched it happen live. I even had a little
Wow.
bit part of that, but he was trading options and he overextended his account. He was getting phone calls while the trade was happening, but he closed it out and or just put in John Carter $1 million trade. You might find it.
I wanted to see. Does he have a website though?
Oh yeah, it's called Simpler Trading. I follow. I was with them for years. Simpler Trading. These are really good options. Trader. There he is. That's the guy.
Okay. I probably have seen this guy's ads or something on YouTube.
Yeah, but he's legit. You know. Um, the only thing is that I outgrew his whole. You know, he's really good for beginners. And if you want to learn options trading, I would recommend it. But I kind of outgrew that whole situation, and I like J Trader's style, and I like the way he is like he devotes so much more time to his subscribers and his membership. Where John was on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times a week, but when he was on, you really had to pay attention.
He was on the days that were trading good.
You know, well, he had his schedule because he was building his business.
Okay, guys, let's go through another chart, shall we?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yeah.
if you guys haven't sent the chart over, then and you want to, now's the time.
I'm gonna mute.
All right,
Alright,
so
Gondola.
basically, yeah. So just for the record, I didn't trade this ticket very well. I was washed up in the morning because just don't do what I did because I didn't have very good sleep. Cause like I wake up to trade in the pre-market, right? My time is like 6 a.m. So when I show up to the computer and there's no gappers, I just fall down on my desk and sleep. And then I woke up again and I saw VC and X. I did some quick due diligence and but yeah, the thing I gotta say before this is the the underlying theme here was that I've been getting better, like I can feel myself getting better at reading tape. The problem is I don't understand when you can top tick a short or you have to short a trendline break. For example, like J Trader, because I've seen examples where he will not exactly top tick, but it's like he's shorting the top. Um, but I don't understand because like sometimes he will top tick and then other times you have to short a trend line break. Like for the examples in the room, like the trading room in the channel, it says in pre-market you have to short a trend line break. But then I see people like top ticking in the pre-market. So that's what confuses me. But yeah, so to get
Go
to
real
my trade,
fast.
yeah.
Real fast. OTC or any small cap traders. Alex, you want to comment on that?
About the top ticks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this like what he's saying is like Jay talks about how you should short the trend line break in pre-market, but instead, you know, he sees people taking top tick trades.
Yeah.
Well, if you see like traders taking top ticks, if they're beginners, for sure, if they're like only starting their trading, I believe that a lot of the times, like they're showing only their profit trades, you know, it's like a lot of the beginners do. Uh, and like for the guys who are trading a lot, like Carfet or Charlie, let's say, and they're top ticking on during the pre-market, they're doing it by reading the tape, by having levels on the daily chart and everything. And like they know the zone where they should take a trade before it even reaches this zone. So, but as for the beginner, if you're like starting the trading, don't try to top tick any of the tickers on the small caps. just wait for the trend line break and the golden zone rejection. Like we can have like a golden zone rejection, not even before the trend line break, but if you want, if we need to enter there, we need to see the stuff at the top before. Like
Yeah.
you can see it here. We have like a second stuff to the previous level of like 1.4, something like that. And then after we have a trend line break, but the price just tries to get to the golden zone and gets rejected after that stuff. And like at around 137, this is like you can say that this is a golden zone rejection, and you can enter there. But definitely, if you're a beginner during the pre-market trades, you should always wait for the trend line and the pop and stuff at the golden zone to entry. Because like some days you will catch the top, and a lot of more days you will just try to entry, get stopped out, then entry again, like anticipating the top every time, you know. So here we just have like the stuff on the previous high here, exactly. This is like not before the trend line break, but this is like kind of a good setup. And this is like where we can get the good entry because we have a level where we stuffed before the trend
Yeah.
line break. So this is like not the perfect example of the chart to try to find a trend line break entry, you know. But this kind of was a good entry because like we have a stuff on that previous high, on the previous level. So you didn't anticipate it before. You just had a level. We stuffed there. Well, actually, as you can see, you just shorted there. So the first short was stopped out, right? Right on
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
because
you're
of
like you
pre-market.
tried to short before the rejection of the previous level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Pretty much.
yeah, so like especially during pre-market, um, it's better to wait for the price to go above the level and see if it stuffs. And the second
Okay.
trade exactly what you did, like what you should wait for. And this like the second entry is good. It's actually like a perfect entry. So you can like anticipate the stuff, but you should like your first entry should be like let's say 1/6 of the size or like 1/5 of the size, because like you're
Okay.
anticipating the stuff. So, but definitely for most of the times, trading during pre-market, just wait for the trend line break, for the golden zone rejection, or we can have a VWAP rejection, so something like that. And
Okay.
these are much like safer entries, and much you will have much a lot more win rate on this trade. So
So for this area, so you would say that I would have to short the like this circle, right? And not the first one.
well, like this stock actually with this price and this volume is not like the perfect stock, like at least for me to watch and see how it reacts because like we move, you know, like 1 or 2 cents, and the
Yeah.
candles are so like uh it's looking like if, the stock without any liquidity, you know. So but on like stocks with like $2 or $3 or like $10, this like circles are actually like kind of looking like a VWAP rejection. And after we have a trend line break, but this trend line break we're having like above the J lines, which is like not an A plus during the pre-market. We can have like a J line rejection during the pre-market with the trend line break below the J lines or
Okay.
at the J lines, not above them. So in this case, like your entry could be on the second, on the red candle once we stuffed into that VWAP. Like you have a circle there actually.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the first circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So
And
I'm gonna.
actually, like it's like you shorted covered half on the J lines, right?
Yeah. So what happened
And
was
and
Yeah.
then you covered another partial when we closed the second bar closed above the 9 EMA, right?
Um, I covered the other half because I felt like there was a big heat map, and I saw on the times and sales there was like a lot of green, right? And
Yeah.
so I was kind of emotional, and I felt like I wanted to cover all of it.
Yeah. So basically, what like I can suggest to you, once you covered half on the J lines, and you don't see like it was like after 9 o'clock, right? And you don't
Yeah.
see any volume coming in during the pre-market, and you could just risk like that, let's say like 3 or 2 cents above the VWAP, and this would be like a perfect trading for you during the pre-market. Because if you risk that above the VWAP, you will get stopped out and you could held like that another half the whole day actually until that 1.1 1.10 price, you know.
Yeah.
So unless you see like a lot of volume coming in during the pre-market and the price just getting like smashed above the VWAP, just trail with it. That's what I suggest. Don't trail
Okay.
with the 9 MA if the 9 MA, if we are like downtrending, we are on the J lines, because price will usually it will bounce from the 1 minute J lines and it will bounce above the 9 MA. So the 9 MA, if the price is getting to the 1 minute J lines, is not the perfect trailing
Okay.
method.
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
The better
Like you.
trading method will be to trail with the VWAP during the pre-market or even during the trading day. So
Okay. Yeah. So I'll
yes,
continue to.
Real
Yeah.
fast though, a couple things before we
Yes.
continue. So just so you know, Gondola,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else kind of listening, Alex trades the small caps primarily using like levels as his stop, right, Alex?
well, kinda. Like I use levels to the for the entries,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, for the stops. Like if I'm holding, if I have like the whole dollar number or like the high volume node or something like that, yeah, I will definitely use it as a kind of my trailing and level
But you're always
during the
looking for
day.
that key level on the day to
Yeah,
kind of play
yeah,
off of.
yeah. Like the perfect trades usually happens when we have not only the J line or the VWAP or let's say the golden zone, but we also have like some levels where combined with the J lines or VWAP or even the golden zone itself, if we have where another level, it gives me more confirmation and like it gives me more thoughts that it's gonna reject this level, that this level is going to be like a hard to break, you know, because we have a lot of like stuff there. Like let's say for example we have a level of like two or half dollar number or whole dollar number or free, and we have the VWAP around that level. So this is like the level for me that is perfect. We're gonna have like a fake breakout, or we will not even do the break out of this level. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like if you combine the levels and the J lines and the VWAP and everything, it's gonna be better for you.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next thing, real fast, and we'll keep moving, that I wanted to ask you, Gondola, and everyone
Yeah.
that Alex said about these first initial shorts is, you understand where with this first short that you took here, that like you anticipated it, right? Like you
Yeah.
get,
So what happened was I wasn't looking at the tape correctly because I was still a bit tired, right? And I've been getting better at reading tape, but I wasn't very focused, so I didn't like read the tape correctly.
yeah,
But
all
yeah.
good. I mean, it happens. But the point I wanted to get to was that like when you write your mistakes, okay, I didn't play this correctly, tape reading mistake. But one of the mistakes that you actually did here was just anticipate.
Yeah.
And one of the things, like for instance, with my trading, is like when I'm writing down mistakes, is am I trading in anticipation too often? Am I always trying to beat the breakout? And my mistake sometimes is like I'll anticipate too much, and then I'm losing. unnecessarily instead of waiting for confirmation. So, one of the mistakes that you should kind of put down is that you
Mhm.
anticipated this, because what you want to track now is how often are you anticipating these types of trades, so that way you can kind of build and become better. Because you might find that you're anticipating certain trades too often, like trend line breaks. Maybe you're shortened before it even started breaking down yet, and you're anticipating it, and you just got to know that, and learn that about yourself. So that's
Yes.
the point I just wanted to make, because the second one, it was perfect. This first one's considered anticipation because it's still just going up, up, up. Where in the second one, it popped up and then now it's starting to actually fade down and turn into a red candle and go from green to red. And then you shorted
Yeah.
it and then it worked out perfect. So you had the confirmation that it was actually starting to fade down in price. So
Yeah.
so just a couple thoughts there for you before we keep going is like, when you write your mistakes and you say, "Oh, I didn't play this correctly." Well, how didn't you play it correctly? Were you anticipating trades? Were you waiting too long for confirmation and then you missed the trade? You want to be tracking that, so that way you can kind of
Okay.
determine more about your trading style and address those types of things.
Yeah,
So
I'll definitely start doing that for sure.
yeah, just a thought for you.
Quick
Yeah,
question
Yeah.
for anyone who wants to answer the tape thing. When it comes to candles like the one where you anticipated in, I don't know your name, sorry. And then versus like candles that, let's say, went up a lot, but in that very same candle, it went down and showed a huge wick, and you saw that on tape, right? So you shorted that, but then as soon as you shorted, it shoots straight back up. So it closed with the candle looking full instead of having a huge wick like it did when I initially shorted it. How do you differentiate the characteristics of the tape in regards to that kind of candle compared to that kind of candle where he anticipated it? I have an idea, but if you guys have a different perspective, it'll help me with that.
That's a tough
I
one.
think it's
yeah,
what
it's
Eric
like
does.
so if I understand it correctly, so you're meaning like sometimes like when we have stuffs,
Yeah.
they're not like really real stuffs. So it's kind of it's stuffs and then reclaims the level and pushes like to the level where it's stuffed, right?
Yeah,
And
let's
we
say-
have a green candle there,
Yeah,
right?
like I've been caught one of the reasons why I switched up my sizing and all that is because there would be times where Jay would say, "Oh, short the VWAP or short the J lines," and then I would, because it stops there. But then all of a sudden it shoots straight back up in that very same instant, and it's like, dang, that was a waste. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't mind putting a position there if it was small, and so that's why I had to switch up my sizing strategy. But for you guys, it's something like that where it's a VWAP or J lines or some daily level or something like that where you expect saw the stuff, but then all of a sudden it reclaimed, and the very same candle.
It's like for me personally, like if you're talking about like let's say VWAP stuff, a lot of the times we have exactly what what you're talking about. Like we have a stuff on the VWAP, and then like 10 seconds later it reclaims the VWAP fast and like pushes more to the upside, right? And that's why I was talking about the levels. Perfect stuffs happens not like on the VWAP itself. They happens on the certain levels. For example, it can be like the level on the which we have like during the pre-market, where we have like buyers, then we dropped from that level, and now we have sellers there, and we actually can see it on this like on this graphic, like around 1.28 or something. We have a consolidation during the pre-market. You can show it by your mouse actually, Eric. So
Below that first circle,
during the pre-market. Yeah, like this line. So as you can see, we have like kind of a VWAP and this level stuck there. And we rejected it after here. So we rejected it for the first time when we go below it. So for
Yeah.
me, this level now is a resistance. What happens during the after the open? So we push to this level for the first time now. For the first time, here, and it immediately rejected. This tells me that the sellers are still here. They are coming in. So this is the perfect short on the stuff. I can risk that level or like 1 cent above that level. And then move my stop break even once we break the J lines and everything. What happens then? We push to this level once again for the third time. No, during the market hours. Here. So we pushed once again, and the sellers are there again. And we actually on this push we break above the VWAP, and when we like stuffed below it, and that's why like if you use the levels, you will see that there are a lot less those fake stuffs, let's say, which are being reclaimed fast enough and everything, because like we not only have in the VWAP here, we have a level of a resistance. That's why, like, if you're looking to short something, to short the stuff, you need to have like a proper level there.
Okay.
So this goes the same with the J lines. Let's say we have opening below the J lines, we are pushing to the J lines, and sometimes we are kind of rejecting the J lines, and when the price just pushes above it to the VWAP or even like above the VWAP and everything, it's like because we didn't have enough sellers there, the buyers are still there, and there is no level, like, and no sellers on this level exactly on the J lines, and that's why like if I have a stock which is opening like below the J lines and it pushes to the J lines, and I see sellers on the tape, the price is rejecting the J lines, I will not entry short if have like if I don't have any level on the J lines, or let's say
So-
like 2 or 3 cents above it.
One
Because
thing too, though, is because I've noticed that too before, but there have been times where the pre-market levels don't work either, and so I remember a few meetings ago, OTC talked about how he said the 1 minute levels or the pre-market levels don't matter as much as like the daily levels or the 30-minute time frame levels or things like that, right? And so I'm wondering, like, in your experience, Alex, using those levels, because how well does that work most of the time? Because for me, in my experience, I get a mixed bag with that still.
Well, like for the J line rejection or VWAP rejection.
J lines or VWAP, when I'm using, because I use that, I've noticed that it's better if I use that in confluence with a level as well. But like these days, I'm like kind of wary about how pre-market resistance levels are how trustworthy are they?
He's saying
Well-
like sometimes pre-market levels work and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like you cannot have like 100% win rate on anything, right? So that's the thing. Like sometimes
does.
like your trade, yeah. Sometimes like your setups are just not working, and that's all right. But using those levels, you will have like a more tightened risk, and you will lose a lot less money without those levels, And for example, like we can say about the levels and the J lines and the VWAP. And for example, the pre-market high level is a totally different level, at least for me. Like for the pre-market high level, if I see the stuff, I will always entry the stuff. And that's it. I will just place the stop like 1 cent above the pre-market high. If it works, fine. It works like most of the time. If it does not, like when it means that the stock is not giving us that fade, that setup of like it's fading, let's say 20% or even more or something for this day. So like you just have to deal with these things. They will always happen to you, like to all of us, when the levels or VWAP or J lines or pre-market high or golden zone won't work. We just have to make sure that we have a really tight risk if we trade it, if we are trading it, because like the risk management is what keeps us in the game, right?
So you're the
Mark.
type. So you're the type to size in big if you see an opportunity
Yeah,
first,
exactly.
rather
exactly.
than to build up your position.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like
Hello.
especially on the stuffs or like rejection, if I see them, I'm like all in.
Yeah.
Especially on the pre-market high stuff.
Yeah.
And if the small cap is choppy enough, I can try to build my position, let's say around the J lines or around the VWAP, trying to build the position with risk like a little bit above a certain level of the stock,
Yeah.
let's say like a $0.5 number or something.
I think.
Also, Mark, you know, one kind of good way to determine if those levels are working or not. Let's say maybe we go through a period where the pre-market levels aren't as effective, and maybe a 60-minute level is working better. So, you know, at the end of the day, when you go back and mark up your chart and look for those levels, you'll see certain times they're working and certain times they're not. So it's like you'll look back today and say, oh wow, this pre-market level worked out perfect, and then you look at a few other charts or the previous day and they were working well that day too. So that tells you tomorrow, okay, I'm going to try to play off of some pre-market levels or be more aware of it because they're working right now. And that's the same for big caps. Like for instance, pre-market high, I mean, I'm always kind of aware of what's happening at pre-market high, but at times those like fail fall throughs where it pops into pre-market high and then it rejects and sells down, at times that strategy does not work that well. And then right now it's working a lot more. So like these strategies, these levels, they come and go. And for instance, on big caps as well, of the volume by price, these major kind of value points, a lot of those are working really well. Whereas, you know, a couple months ago, you know, we might move through some of those price points a lot easier. So it's just kind of being aware, and that's where they say, you know, as a trader, you always got to be learning. You're always kind of changing and adjusting your strategy slightly, and that's because at times, you know, J lines are going to work perfect, and at other times it's going to be doing a J line rejection above the J lines. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I think for me though, you know, there are times I've been doing that kind of trading where I look for stuff and then I size big on that. I've been doing that for a few months, and I've switched it up finally because I was getting frustrated with all the fake, you know, fake stuffs that I'm starting to like. I my personality I feel like is much better if I average up or if I size my way up to a winning position rather than getting stuck in a trade that would screw me in like 10 seconds, especially if I'm under the PDT. It's frustrating to having to get stuck in something like that and then waste
Yeah.
your day trade. Where if I can size accordingly, even if that stuff was fake, I can still win that trade. And I've been testing that for the past 3 weeks, almost a month, and I've been finding that that's a lot more efficient for my style and my personality than how Jay's been teaching. No, I've done that before though. I remember I did that like my first, like the third month of my mentorship, and Jay's like, "Oh, what are you doing? You need to load the boat here, blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh, okay," and then so I scrapped that strategy early on, but I just can't trade the way you
But
guys
that
do,
was,
especially
like-
being under PDT. You know, if I was over PDT and I could get out and then I can re-enter at a higher position, maybe I'll try that strategy again. But for now, I like the sizing up, especially.
Yeah, it's like that's why we're all different. Like for everybody, trading is different. Like
Yeah.
for me personally, I'm comfortable loading the boat on the stops, and like for you, you can be more comfortable while building the position. So
Yeah.
that's like that's how trading works actually. For everybody, it is different.
But
But like there are some rules like like for me personally, the thing that will keep like every trader profitable is the risk management, because like without it, even if you like load the boat on the stuffs or like size slowly during like the consolidation area or something like that, if you don't have like the perfect risk management, if you don't risk the certain levels or like some, you know, the levels where which tells you that the stock is going up or like it's going down, uh, this is like the most thing that
Yeah,
you should be focused on
definitely.
during like finding your niche
I
in
think.
trading.
Oh, I've been trading for a few years, so I have a good read on price action in general. So I think with the sizing in, I have a lot more control over my uh what my risk is in regards to how much of a pace I want it to go to. You know, like if I put a 1/10 of my full size in, let's say, where uh this guy shorted that anticipation candle, right there, right? And let's say I messed up. Okay, it could go up even more, but I'm only 1/10 size. I could let it go up against me $1 or $1.50, and still be I would still be okay. Actually, this is a dollar stock, maybe not like that much, but
Yeah.
I would be okay with it going up like 10% against me, because that's nowhere near my dollar risk for the day. And then once I start seeing through price action in level two that it is slowing down and it is looking weaker, that's when I can start loading my shares and then tightening my risk so that I don't have to so I can manage all of that, micromanage all of that without having to deal with all the sharp spikes that I had to deal with when I loaded the boat in a fake spike and then it went against me. I feel like there's a lot better for
Yeah,
me
they just,
personally.
you've been trading, so you can kind of manage that. Everyone uh, doesn't like averaging into positions because as new traders, it's a recipe for disaster, right? So I agree with
Yeah.
you though with what you're saying because building positions, if you know what you're doing, it can be really, really good.
Yeah,
Okay,
especially
guys,
like
let's.
if you're like if you're trading a lot of money, like building the position is the only way you can trade the small caps for sure. Because like once you reach a certain level of money which you're trading, there will not be that much liquidity to get your fills in during the stuffs and everything. So like once traders reach like a certain level of money, they should switch to that like building a position, a full position style. So
For
that's why
sure.
like this is like the only way that like the big traders can be profitable.
For sure. Or they start switching to big caps. I feel
Yeah.
like that inevitably happens.
So, guys, I wanted to ask Mugen, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Hi there, guys and
Hey,
girls.
Mugen.
Hello, hello.
So you didn't
How
have a
you
good
guys?
day today, huh?
Hey, it was. It, I wouldn't say I didn't have a good day. I say I didn't have a good moment. I'll put it that way because that's where that happened, and I just had to leave it there. It was, just really unnecessary. Comes at an unnecessary time, because being new in mentorship, you can only trade a certain size, and that was just it was like a disaster when I noticed that. But look, I was sincere in what I said to you in that message. That I mean, for those that don't know, what happened this morning was I was when I get down here, being in the UK time, I get down for the 0400 start in the pre-market because I kind of found some good opportunities between 4 and 6, especially with things that you were speaking about in the pre-market, and you were discussing early on. So this morning when I come down, things were a bit quiet. So I thought I would just touch up on some hotkeys that I had for quite a while through my Stream Deck, but they got wiped out on Monday. We had that problem with gas, and I had to reinstall as well. So hence, I had that problem. So look, okay, no problem. I managed to do all of that, and I don't know how, but I'm assuming anyway that I knocked the Stream Deck, And as a result, I bought shares, which was a long position, which I shouldn't have. There's no reason to have even been in that. For 1,000, I bought 1,000 shares. That price, my max anyway, is 100. But that was irrelevant because it was, completely, I wasn't aware of this. And I think it was 37 minutes later, I realized
Oh
that
man.
I was $600 down. Um, so, I just wanted to share at that point in time, the emotions were, all over the place. Um, I said, I got to cut this thing immediately. So it actually moved a little bit. So the loss was about 400 at the time, but because it was 1,000 shares, and when I tried to get out, it only took 500 shares, and then because there was no liquidity there, the spread was quite wide, and then it dropped to the next level, which then caused that exit another 400 on top of that. So hence why it got to 600. But look, it could have been worse at the time if I didn't sort of accept what had happened, rather than moan and hope. Okay, let's just wait for this to turn around. It's a mistake. It shouldn't have happened to me. Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Rather than ask all of that questions, even though I'm new, but I just thought it's the best thing to do to just get out of it, because I mean, 17 or a time, when I looked at that clock, 19 minutes, 20, let's just say 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, that $600 loss could have been $2,400. So I
Yeah.
could have sat there and felt sorry for myself, but I would have been another 1,800 out of pocket. I was disappointed. I was aggravated at the time, but I tried to look at the beauty and the positive in people and in situations, and the beauty in that situation was that it wasn't a $2,400 loss, and I'll have to just learn to keep my fingers to myself when I'm when
Yeah.
I'm working at hotkeys.
So
But
everyone,
I've
like I want,
been there, done that. I've had
yeah, I want to ask
$2,000 losses.
everyone now, how has, like,
thanks for sharing
he
them.
bumped his hotkeys and got himself into position. Then he's, doesn't even realize, which, that's pretty easy to do. Let's be real here. How many people have done that? You guys are right in here if you can, but
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
So,
been there for a lot of times actually.
Eric, may
I
I
had
just
a winning
also,
trade
or to
like
the
that.
group, actually, may I just also say, uh, I just want to emphasize as well that I'm not putting a chip on my shoulder or anything like that, because I say this really, really with a lot of love. I say this in that, especially for the new students as well, like myself. Don't question what had happened. Don't try and reason with what the mistake that had happened. Don't try and reason and say, why is this happening? Should it happened? It happened. The sooner you accept that, the sooner I accepted this, I dealt with it. And honestly, the situation could have been much worse. Uh, I think what could have been even worse if this wasn't a loss and it was actually a win, because if it happened again, then
Oh, you
I
got to
would
feel the
expect.
same way.
Exactly. So for all new students listening to me, to the situation out there, please, immediately when a mistake happens, any mistake, whether it's in trading, whether it's in your life, own that mistake immediately, because the sooner you own it, the sooner you can get rid of it, or sorry, the
I
sooner you can rectify it.
I had a what do you call it? Just a thumb. I don't know. What do you call it?
Fat
Fat
finger.
thumb
I
Fat
think
finger.
on silver. I woke up the next morning. It was up $5,000. I'm like, oh my god, that could have been a disaster.
Also, I don't know about you guys too. I've done that before, and I was annoyed by it. So what I did was like, what my shortcut used to be was like F1, F2 to hit certain keys. Now it's like if I want to do like short the ask, I do Shift F1, and if I want to short the bid, I do like Control F1.
Okay, couple of things too. I'd like to add to that, because I've done the same thing. Normally, let's put this thing like this,
Gonna mute.
and this is how my screen is. Okay, like this. And Mugen, if I walk by my computer and I see anything in this window here, that means something is going on. There's a position in the works. And so, like, you know, if I'm at this computer, if I'm looking at my screen here, this is always my signal that something is happening and I need to be on it, or, you know,
No, I
it's
got
not a
you.
big deal.
I
But
got
then,
you. You know, it's staring right in front of you. I don't. On a humorous note, I don't normally have regrets, but the only regret I have on this is that I didn't press the sell button by mistake rather than the long button. I would have been smiling by now.
yeah. But it's okay. You know, it's a learning lesson too, you know.
100%, 100%.
I still do that. I still hit the wrong button.
But this is like my main screen, and this order window, the orders and the actual, trading positions, I have to have that on my main screen because
Same as me. I have them as well. The same, exactly same as you know. I have that actually just below where the when you're locating shares and stuff. So this is the reason how I noticed this, because when I glanced up at my screen, I saw I'm in a position here, and it wasn't a good looking position. So that was a it was a lesson sooner learned rather than later. And like I said, it could have been much worse. Would it been so quiet? I could have easily have went out for a coffee, knowing you know what, it's quiet, it's still early. Let me just go and get a coffee, and that could have been a very expensive coffee, one of the most expensive coffees. But it was a lesson. Of course, I was
okay. And then the other thing is, so like for instance, on my account, I have two things. I have max daily loss, which you know about. It's everybody knows. It's when you hit that number, you can't take any more trades. But then but also there's a second thing. It's called total loss. So not max loss, but then there's also total loss. So let's say my max daily loss is $500, but I also have total loss of $600. So that way, if I'm in a position unrealized and I get to $600, not 500, if I get to 600, the broker will sell it for me and lock my platform.
But I don't think that works in the pre-market. I think that only works in the open market.
No, it works on DAS.
Not in the pre-market.
You could be right. I don't know. You'd have to go and test it, and you'd have to ask them. I would just hit them up on the live support, and you can kind of just message them.
From what I understand, I think that only work. Even max loss, I think it only works. I could be wrong, but if my memory serves me correctly, I'm sure it just works in the open market. Anybody else has OTC? Do you have any knowledge on that?
It doesn't work for futures. That's for damn sure.
In the pre-market.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, okay. I think also for stocks, I don't think it works. I don't think max loss or total loss works in the pre-market.
Okay.
I think it only works in the open market. So that's another thing. Maybe everybody can inquire about to their brokers, because maybe all different brokers work differently. But maybe
I would message them, Leo, on the help desk. It's the live chat. It's really easy to just message them and ask them that too. But
yeah,
for me, I don't trade.
I don't ever. Yeah.
So, but
futures I don't mess around with. I'm either watching it or I'm not, and if I'm not, I'm not in.
Yeah, exactly. So that it happens. So it's just disappointing, but it happens. So, I mean, so how do you feel now?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, it was that I don't let a moment spoil my day. I don't let a moment spoil, the next 2 hours. To be honest, it's just not worth it. Nothing was going to change what had happened, and I genuinely mean this. Hand on my heart, I tell you guys and girls this. I never always used to be like this. Obviously, I did my best over the years to try and deal with situations, whatever it may be. But I had some good lessons.
You were a really angry person before you were this positive?
No, I've never. So the thing with myself is that I was actually having that conversation with my sister early on, who lives in New Zealand, and I was actually saying to her that sometimes it could be a double-edged sword, in that I have a very cool temperament, but sometimes when because it takes so much, that when you do get to that anger point, it can be explosive. But and that was obviously in my youth and stuff. But to be fair, for many, many, many years now, I've known how. I think it's important to be aware of yourself and how you explode, and it's all dealing with your mind and your emotion, being aware of that mind and emotion. I could have got really, really angry because it's really something I didn't need, $625 of about £500. I'm trying to trade, full time for my livelihood because I had lost a business that I built over 11 years in the pandemic. I had a security guarding company that I built actually 12 years ago, and which went quite well, but just collapsed in the pandemic because we serviced the retail sector. So it was high-end fashion retail brands that I used to supply security guarding services to. But those contracts became a nothing. We had 3 lockdowns in here, and they didn't require anything. So to take that loss today, obviously, it was quite hurtful. But nothing was going to change it, whether I remained angry, whether I remained moody, whether I tried to be angry with the world, punch the wall. What was that going to solve, Derek? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It would only make matters worse. Um, uh, and I think just
So,
being aware of that is
so
important.
walk us through, because I mean, you're right. It's hopefully a drop in the bucket to your trading career, right? But when you're getting angry and you're upset, why did this happen to me, right? And why is this happen? How did this happen? What do you do to
So
adjust?
it's
Because the thing
okay. So
for me is that, like, with trading, I'm so thankful with my trading on how much I've learned kind of about myself and my emotion. Because, like you're saying, I'll start to get angry about something, and I'm aware of how, what level of anger I'm at, or how upset I'm about to get, all because of my time trading. I've been up and down, so you start to see it happening. And so, in your case, I'm sure you're upset, but what do you do to start,
okay. So the
calming
first
yourself
thing
down?
So the first thing people need to do is, this is just my belief as well. Also, I want to also emphasize, when I'm going to be speaking with Joseph on the third, please don't expect, no Buddhist retreat a guru coming with some education there. I'm just going to be speaking about my life lessons. I grew up in a Hindu family in South Africa, but we're not a fanatical religious family, but we believe in our Hinduism, and we used to go to our Hindu temple and learn about consciousness, being aware, meditation, breathing, and those kind of things. So it's just simple practices that we used to learn, but which I will speak more in detail at a later stage. But one of the things um, I had been taught from an early age is that quite often you guys might relate that when something goes wrong and you are in a moment, you're told, take a deep breath in. Yeah, am I right? Most of you might have experienced that. Yeah. But the thing, what we need to actually do is not immediately take a deep breath in. We should actually take a breath out for maybe 6 seconds to 7 seconds. Breathe out, actually. So you're releasing all of that energy. And what it also does is it triggers one of the sides of your brain, because there's 2 sides. I think it's called the cortisol. And I can't remember. I'll get the name of the other side of the brain, and it's the chemical imbalance that causes this anger and emotion. But if you're not aware of where you are at that point in time, you will just remain angry, and breathing in may not be the solution to that. So whenever I'm in a moment of, I sense that anxiety or that anger or that issue is coming up, this is what I do. The first thing I do is breathe out for 7 seconds, and then I start breathing back in. I breathe out for 7 seconds, and then I start breathing back in, just to keep myself calm. And the most important thing I would like to tell you about this is to be observant of your mind and of your emotion, because that is where the anger is coming from, the 2 places, which is the mind, and from the center of your body, which is where your emotions are coming from. And the minute you can observe this, you will you will watch this subside. You will watch this anger subside, um, and you will watch the emotion subside as well. But this can only be done if you are aware of that moment and if you observe this. Other than that, the mind and anger will take control and just ruin everything at that moment. That's what I believe in anyway. Did that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it does it.
Yeah.
My mind does it for me on every losing day. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I tell you know, even right now, if
I've
you
got
want,
4 trades on right now.
oh, you got four. Okay, so you know, like one of the things you guys should just do this as a practice for tonight, tomorrow, whenever you are. You know, I was actually going to speak about this on the third as well, but maybe it would be a good thing to talk about on the third and see how you guys got on with this. So you know, you always we're always thinking this is how the mind works. It's something where life's supposed to be about the mind working for us, but we actually turn things around the other way over time. In you know, in the civilization, we actually work for the mind, and you know, which is the wrong concept. The mind should actually be exactly like what a stream deck is, or what some hotkeys are, what the laptop is. You know, what a trading platform is. It's just a tool that's there when we need to use it, and put it away thereafter. You know, it shouldn't be the other way around. And one of
If I can interrupt you, I think one of the best things, best quality a trader can have is passion. Like I said, I've blown up 2 counts before. I'm still here. I've been doing this since 2012,
well,
and you know, there are times where I thought I'd just give up, but I just loved it too much.
exactly.
And so you just, when you have a bad day, a bad moment, you just wipe it out of your mind and you get back to the fundamentals, you get back to the basics, you get back to straightening out your mind, take a walk your dog,
Yeah, yeah.
be with your family, and then get back into it again and forget about what just happened, because you can overcome it.
And the thing is, to be able to do all of that, as OTC has said, which is all the exact correct things you need to do, because you know, passion drives you to, I believe, to win at anything in life. You know, you need to have that. So this is what I want to say. Like, you know, I believe personally in my life, what's proven in my life is that I've never achieved anything spectacular or a dream when I put my mind to it. When I put my heart into something, I achieved anything I ever went after. And that's where your passion comes from. Your passion comes from your heart. Your passion comes from your spirit. Your passion comes from within there, not from your mind. You see, your mind will always have a positive and a negative side, a yes or a no, a positive or a negative, a black or a white. Your heart knows no yes or no. Your heart knows, your passion knows no negative, positive. Your passion only knows one thing, which is to achieve what it is set out to go and do. So that is why, yeah, the passion is very, very important, and it'll always win over mind. 110%, it will win over the mind.
But now, I love that, Mugen. Now, what I want to ask is, so let's say, for instance, like what happens sometimes to me is I have a bad day. Maybe I didn't follow some rules. I anticipated some trades. I kind of traded in a range, over traded a little bit. The quality of my trading was not good. And let's say I have a max daily loss, right?
Okay.
It takes me about an hour or two to not be an asshole, I guess. So, like,
okay, but that's okay. That's okay, because at least you are aware of that fact. At least you're not being an asshole for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours.
Dude, I was an asshole to my wife
yeah.
2 days ago, and I made $27.50, and she's like, "Why are you being an asshole? You just made a ton of money."
See, you know, the thing we need to ask ourselves is, we can only change being an asshole if we're aware of it, right?
Yeah.
And if we're not aware of it, we can't change anything. So, like, when we are, what causes you to be an asshole? You're overthinking, right? You're thinking. And the two things you're thinking about is the past and the future, because you're depressed about the past and what happened, and now you're anxious about what's happening in the future. Two places that don't actually exist in that point of time that you're being an arsehole, because the past is gone, the future is not there. All you are in is in that 1 hour of present moment, which you choose to be an arsehole. And the sooner, I'm not calling you an arsehole now. Please don't get
Yeah,
upset or
no, no, I
anything.
know.
No, we
So,
understand.
so you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of that. The sooner you're aware of where you are and stay in that present moment, the sooner you can get rid of it. So when you catch yourself in that 1 hour, you're probably overthinking, right, Eric? You're thinking and you're overthinking and you're overthinking.
Yeah.
What I want all of you guys to do as a test over the next couple of days or whenever, please try this. Even after we finish this call, when you are thinking and you are thinking, try and observe yourself thinking. Try and catch yourself thinking. Even if you have to say to yourself, okay, yeah, I am in thought now, and observe the thought. Don't agree with the thought. Don't disagree with the thought. Don't do nothing like that. I just want you to observe your thought, okay? And because the thought is the mind. That is where the thought is coming from. That is where the thinking is coming from. So I want you to practice and see whether you can observe your thinking, whether you can observe that thought. I guarantee you that each and every single one of you, I guarantee you that you will be able to do that. It may take time, may take a minute, may take a day, but one way or the other, I can put my head on the block and guarantee that you will be able to observe that thought. And
Is that
then,
just making you kind of more aware of what you're thinking about if you're talking negative to yourself? Is that what you
no,
kind of mean?
more powerful than that, Eric. More powerful than that. Because once you've observed your thought, and now you are aware that you've observed your thought one time, the second time, the third time, you watch more and more, you will then start noticing that once the thought has been observed, you will watch the thinking subside. Best way I can explain this is, like a little kid that's doing something naughty and has been caught red-handed. This is what the thought and the thinking becomes like. Okay, so when you continue to do this, you will watch your thinking subside. Your 1 hour of overthinking will become 45 minutes, will become half an hour, will become 20 minutes, to a point where you will immediately know, hey, do you know what? I'm overthinking about this situation. Yeah. And you will observe that thought, you will observe that thinking moment, and it will subside that thinking. And you will do the very same thing with the anger emotion, or the emotion of anger, which, as I said, I'm not asking you to look in your head, look in your body for where this thinking is coming, because we all know that if you dissect the human body, there is no organ called the mind, right? You'll have a brain, you have the brain, you have the heart, you have every other organ. There is nothing in tangible is the mind. We know that you'll
Yeah.
agree with me on that, right? So
Yeah.
this is something that we create. It is man-made, it is created, it is not a tangible thing that you could dissect a human body, and it is there. So this is something that's, as it is created, it can be destroyed, or it can be, what I like to say, it can be dominated. So you're going to then ask yourself, after a couple of days, when you succeed at, which you will do, each and every one of you will succeed at observing your thinking, then you will ask this question, which is the most powerful feeling you're ever going to experience. You're going to ask yourself, what is observing the mind? Because we always think we are the mind. So if something is within you that is observing the mind, there is something within you that is even more powerful than the mind. Do I make sense on that?
Yeah. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to think about that for a bit, but yeah.
We have something within us that is 100 times more powerful than the mind. It will achieve things tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold more than what the mind can achieve. And if whatever it is within us, I like to call it my God. I like to call it my spirit within me. I like to call it I. That is what I call it. I call it I. It is the essence of what I am. The spirit and the soul that's within me is what observes the mind, and it is what it is what that subdues this mind and just puts it to rest, puts it to, to detention, like that naughty kid that needed
Yeah.
to be put. And when you have experienced that, my friends, my dear friends, you're like family to me. When you experience that, it is one of the most powerful moments in your life.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely do some thinking on that. You know, I can't remember which psychologist, trading psychologist said it, but they say that like as traders, we often kind of fantasize and have these dreams, kind of like being a great trader, 5 figures, driving a fancy car, right? And then when we lose, that's reality. And that reality in our mind is kind of pushing us farther away from our dream or what we're fantasizing about as a trader, how much money we're making. And that's what makes you angry because your dreams are kind of farther away on a losing day.
Like a Steenbarger.
As one of those guys, yeah, you might be right.
I always tend to find, well, not tend to find, sorry. I always, I read a few books, on trading and stuff like that. I still believe, for psychology, just, for nothing to do with price action, nothing to do with anything. I still believe it's absolute golden material for, aspiring traders and pro traders to read and understand and practice the power of now. Beautiful book. A lot of my learning, in life came from books like The Power of Now, and a lot from my family and my upbringing and stuff. So this is just an example as well of things that I will speak on the third. It's nothing that I learned from a course in psychology or a course at a Buddhist retreat. I've never been to a Buddhist retreat. I've never been to all of these things. It's just things that I experienced, brought up in my family, and how to deal with things. Meditating so nice, so peaceful. Every sportsman, we say, and Jay says as well, traders are like sports people, right? Pro traders need to practice, you need to do these things. So you need to rest your mind as well, and this is where the meditation comes in. Meditation is never going to be perfect. Even the most the highest trained monks will tell you that they will always be in meditation, whether you're a beginner or a veteran meditator, that you can never be blank in your mind. But the thing is, being aware that thoughts are coming in, letting them come in and letting them go, not catching onto them, not latching onto the thought. And you do that, start for 5 minutes if you can, go to 10 minutes if you can, over a period of time. I try and do 15 minutes a day in the mornings, which I do quite nice, but it never was always 15 minutes. It started off at 2 minutes, then 5 minutes, and so on.
Yeah.
And a lot of breathing helps with that as well. But next, also another thing to try, guys, when you are in an anxious moment in your trading, whether something's going wrong or right, rather than take that deep breath in, take a breathe out for 6 seconds and see if you can experience that reset in the brain.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
all right, guys, I liked it. That was really good. Mugen, if you could definitely hop on and walk us through some more of this stuff, that is really helpful because I 100% agree. Training the mind and giving your mind a break and knowing how to kind of condition your mind, I think that's so valuable as a trader because, I mean, you can, go crazy thinking about trading.
Yeah, just remember that the mind works for you and not the other way around. That is the
Yeah.
start. That is the start to shift that change. Mind is treat it like your laptop or like your trading platform. You're not at your trading platform 24 hours a day, let's say, 8 hours a day, 16 hours a day. You're not with your trading platform 16 hours a day, living, breathing it. You use it when you need to. You press buy, you press sell when you need to. Same thing with the brain. Same thing with the mind. Treat it that way, and this is where the shift will start.
Cool. Yeah,
Mugen,
okay.
Yes.
I really like your positivity. It's really inspiring.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. The positive. look, I'm not saying but my life's perfect. I was just explaining what happened, in the pandemic with myself losing my business and so on. But I know that, the negativity is not going to, first of all, bring that business back. Secondly, I know that I'm not the only one in this world that's going through problems and having these problems. And thirdly, I'm a very, very firm believer of coexistence. I understand that everything in this world, in this universe, is in coexistence. One doesn't exist without the other, especially as human beings. So I know that negativity passes on negativity, and the only reason that I try and spread that energy and spread the positivity, and the only reason for that is because it's the only way I know how. I don't see any other way to be, and I'm not saying that everybody should be like that or everybody must be like that. I'm just saying that this is the way I am, because if you can make one person smile in this world, you never know what that person is going through, and that's a blessing for me.
Well, there's not enough people doing it, so we very much appreciate you and your positivity.
Yeah, for
Likewise,
sure.
I appreciate you guys a hell of a lot as well. Before we go, may I please mention something to Mark regarding the stuff candle that you guys were talking about early on in the pre-market? It's very important. I know from what I've been taught, as well as from Joseph, in that that you're looking at the pre-market highs and you're looking at that stuff, and I know we can get caught out because it looks like a stuff, and then it goes, and the candle goes. And if you look at that chart that you'll had earlier on, and with other charts as well, as much as you focusing on the tape and you're looking for all the red sellers going through on the time and sales, you're looking for the big blocks on the level two. Please also key. You'll notice that at the stuffs that are confirmed stuffs, the one that we need to follow, you will always pay attention to the volume, and you'll see an extreme volume candle on a genuine stuff.
Yeah.
Am I right on that, OTC?
I'm not sure if he's still here, but yeah, you are right, because you see more volume than any other candle.
Any other candle. So when you're in doubt on a stuff, straight away look at I think it was Mark that was asking that. If you're in doubt on that stuff,
Yeah.
look at that volume candle. If the volume and if you look at the chart, is it gondola? Am I getting your name correct?
Yeah.
If you look at that chart, which was, I think it was a $1 stock, if I'm not mistaken, and you anticipated the first candle, and then that's the one. So I mean, look at where the genuine stuffs were. Look at the volume candles. So Mark, if you looked at the volume candle, you'll know exactly the green candle was anticipation. Look at the red candle, the stuff, and look at the volume bar on that. And that's what always is worth looking for when you want to confirm the stuff. Then you see that stuff, you saw the volume, the volume candle, that trend line break there is a perfect entry.
Yeah, well, I have like a thing to add. For the stuffs, if you will wait for that volume and for the candle to confirm, like if you want to see the confirmation with the volume and with that candle, that not kind of working for the stuffs, because like as soon as it like forms, the stuff can be already like 10 cents down or even like $1 down, depending on the price of the stock. So like it's not like the perfect way to confirm a stuff, actually. So
I think afterwards, after you're in the trade.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
yeah,
that's what
it's like after, yeah.
Yeah,
After the entry, it's like a confirmation to hold it. So
what I was trying to say was for the newer trader, who was he was unsure about the stuff, so that green candle stuffed and then it formed and closed as a whole candle, and so to avoid the anticipation, don't enter on the anticipation. You've got the volume, the extreme volume, confirming that is a stuff. So that extreme volume is giving us a clear idea that the buyers are exhausted there. Hence why we've got that massive, is it the wick on the top? Yeah, we've got the massive wick with the extreme volume showing us that the buyers have been exhausted here. And then for the newest traders, the students, that is our confirmation. You know what? Look for the lower lows, the lower highs. There's the trend line, and that's our entry. That's what I was trying to say
Yeah.
for Mark. To Mark, if he ever was in doubt about the stuff, look for the volume. The volume will always be extreme compared to the other bars on either side. On to the left of it.
Okay, guys.
Every one of those big selling ones, they've got extreme volume bars, don't they? The stuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, guys, I think that this is pretty good for today. Did we have any other thoughts, questions, anything along those lines?
No, long ES. Good night.
Is it going up now? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Well, I wanted to say
Out the
that
gap.
everybody that said I should have sold down here, and look at where this thing almost stopped me out. My massive size held the market down here, as you can see.
Yeah. You just smashed it. You
exactly,
added
but everyone that told me to sell here, give yourself a pat on the back because you're a better trader than me, okay?
Three
To cover the
contracts
union.
at 48. Stop in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Winner or loser? Not gonna lose a lot.
Well,
Good night.
you're still making money, Eric. So it's you who is the better trader because we don't have a position there.
Yeah.
Gotta trade futures 24/7.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, all right, guys, let's call it here. We'll reconvene on Saturday. Mugen, maybe bring some more kind of psychology material that we can kind of discuss, because that's my favorite part. I love going through the charts and trading, but where I'm at with my
Psychology is
trading
involved.
is improving my kind of my brain, my psychology, everything.
No, we'll work together. Just it's not an overnight thing. And day by day, just we gotta wake up in the morning. I mean, some people may find me extreme with the positivity. I am who I am, and it's as I'm not causing any harm. I have no intentions to. It's just that I believe in the way I am. I believe in the power of positivity, the power of gratitude, the power of helping others, and just all of these things I truly believe in. Like just to add, one of the guys, I think was it you, Alex, who said no, that don't worry, but Eric's a better trader. One of the things my dad used to he read something from a book for me. I think it was from Mark Twain, and it says there is no nobility in trying to be superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being better than your former self. So trying to better ourselves every day, that's where the true nobility lies.
That's pretty good. So be your better
Yeah.
self, because you ain't beating me. I'm just kidding, guys.
Exactly.
You can't
I'm
lose
just
in a
kidding.
competition you're not in, right?
Yeah, it's all a competition for me.
Yeah,
A
Eric,
competition against myself. Well,
Yeah,
all right,
that's it.
guys. Well, I appreciate you all. Have a good rest of the day. If you need help, message me, or message each other. Some of you guys I know have just some basic questions, and that's why we're all here. So don't be afraid to reach out to each other. And get yourself a trading buddy. Sometimes I know some of you are kind of introverted people, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to raise your hand and ask questions. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't be afraid to do that. In school, I used to I wouldn't be afraid to ask like some dumb question in front of the whole class, and then kids would come up to me after in school and then say, "Oh, thanks for asking that question because
Yeah,
I
always
didn't
the case.
I didn't know the answer."
You was brave. You were the brave one. You were brave. enough.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm not afraid to look stupid at times.
No.
Some people want to not look stupid, not say the wrong thing. Me, I'm like, who are you? I don't care about your opinion. I got a
Well,
question.
The wise man never knows everything. Only fools know all.
Exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, have a good rest of the day. Keep it green. If you're having a
Take
good
care,
week so
guys.
far, size down. And if you're not having a good week, then size down. You know, don't make your red week any worse.
Much
Okay.
love, everyone. Take care there, guys.
Yeah,
thank you
appreciate
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.